Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We are here to talk about Colin Kaepernick taking over the starting job for the San Francisco 49ers. I'm honestly excited for the fact that Colin Kaepernick is going to be starting for the 49ers again. I've always been a Colin Kaepernick fan. I understand for the stuff that we've gone through over the last two seasons. I don't know. You go back 3 years ago, people were talking about Colin Kaepernick was going to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time because of his size, because of his speed, because of his arm. Let's just get this out there. I mean, I don't think that Colin Kaepernick is the best passer in the NFL. Jim Harbaugh, the offense that he ran is not the same offense that's being run under Chip Kelly. Jim Harbaugh ran a lot of dink and dunk passes along the way. And Colin Kaepernick, was not he wasn't the strongest quarterback doing that. He was only about a 50% passer. He didn't, break records. He wasn't blowing it up, you know what I mean? But he was able to put up stats, and he was able to win football games. Kaepernick never really was the long ball, blow it up guy that people sort of think of him to be. He ran with his feet. You remember that game against the Packers, which was in the playoffs. Kaepernick broke the playoff rushing record for a quarterback. He just found ways to get it done. The offense that made Colin Kaepernick a star is not the offense that the 49ers run today, and it's not an offense that really anybody runs in the NFL anymore. If you can remember a few years ago, I think it was I always called him Tony Soprano, but I think it was Soprano, the head coach of the Dolphins, was trying to break this whole thing in of basically putting the running back under snap, basically running the wildcat offense. If no one knows what's going to do, the wide receiver runs out to the slot, and just anything can happen. And sometimes it worked, and sometimes it blew up in their face. With the whole last season of Jim Harbaugh, basically you had the GM fighting with Harbaugh, Harbaugh fighting with the ownership. The 49ers were not being run well. Basically, Colin Kaepernick had a horrible season that year, and then came back the next season, and he got injured. I believe it was somewhere around week 9 was the last time that Colin Kaepernick has started a game. This year, there was all the talk of last year even, there was a talk of basically trading Colin Kaepernick. There was a lot of teams out there that wanted him, one of the teams being the Eagles. That was sort of one of the reasons of when Chip Kelly was fired by the Eagles and he was hired by the 49ers. People thought this was going to be the resurrection of Colin Kaepernick's career. But Colin Kaepernick, I believe, had 3 surgeries in the offseason, came into to camp, injured, was not able to play until I believe week 3 of the preseason. Gabbert wasn't really breaking records in the preseason, but Gabbert had a better offseason than Kaepernick did, and Gabbert earned the starting quarterback job. This year, Gabbert came out and he played a really good game 1. Since then, has been a mediocre quarterback in everyone's eyes except for Phil Simms watching that football game on last Thursday. The Niners are going to be making this change before going to Buffalo to play the Bills. The Bills are a pretty damn good team. They're 2-2, I believe, or maybe they might be 3-2. They're 2-2 or 3-2. They lost their first 2 games of the year. They fired their offensive coordinator. Since then, they've beat New England without Tom Brady. And I think they beat the Jets is the other team they beat. I'm pretty sure they beat the Jets. Maybe the Jets beat them. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't been following the Bills all that much. But I know that we play the Bills next week. We're going to Bufftown. We got 10 days to get ready. At the same time, Colin Kaepernick is getting ready to take the starting job. He's going to be restructuring his deal to take less money. Honestly, in my mind, I know that if it comes down to it and they want to get rid of you, they can just cut you in football. And that's just the way that the union is set up. They're not as strong as baseball or basketball, or basically if you sign a contract, you're owed that money. The money in football is never guaranteed, which is sort of one reason why it's really shitty. And I don't know why the union hasn't been able to change that with the owners yet. I know that nobody wants to look forward to seeing a strike, and nobody wants to look forward to your team wasting money on a player. But honestly, in my mind, I think that if ownership signs Colin Kaepernick to that deal, they should have to stand behind it, and they have to, to pay him the money that he did. I don't think you tell some guy, hey, we'll let you play football again for the 49ers, we'll let you be the starting quarterback, but we want some of that money back. I know that he was hurt last season. I know that he didn't play the first 5 games of this season, except for going in on the very, very end and handing the ball off 3 times in the Rams game. But there's no reason to take money off this guy's plate. It's not like the 49ers are going to spend it wisely at anything to try and make this football team better this year. I don't know. If I'm Kaepernick, I don't give any of that money back. They're saying that they're talking, they're negotiating, but there's nothing really firm that this is going to happen, and they're saying that the starting job is not based on this. I think they're just saying the right things. I wouldn't be surprised if they're jerking his chain behind the scenes. But I'm not going to tell you that I think that Colin Kaepernick starting this game against the Bills is going to make the 49ers a better football team. I think it opens the door to try to make them the team that they once were. I think that Kaepernick's a good quarterback. I think that he's better than Gabbert in my mind. But I don't know. I mean, Gabbert is not a horrible quarterback. He's won 9 games out of 41 starts in the NFL. That's a horrible stat to have. But he played on some bad Jacksonville teams. He played on a bad 49er team. So I think it just could be a bad place. Maybe he gets on and goes to the Bears next season. I don't know, and he finds a way to win there. I mean, there's going to be teams that need a quarterback. Gabbert is a guy that's not going to be out of the league after this year if he doesn't have the 49er job. So, we tried it. We couldn't win. We were as good as we could be. Let's try something else. That's what we're going to do.